Everyone. This is a very important emergency update. Unfortunately, this morning I found out that my Patreon page was suspended, and I have been communicating back and forth with their trust and safety team for the past roughly 2 days or so. When they flagged my page for for violating their policy on COVID-19, which I have received a violation for that before. And the last time I did, I was communicating via email with a very surprisingly helpful support team member named Ezra, who apparently was a uh, real employee, and he was very polite, and he actually listened to what I was showing in my information, but yet regardless he still made me delete some of my COVID-19 content. Unfortunately, it was not the same this time. This time it was almost exactly like the way YouTube operates. It was They basically just tell you one thing, and it was completely false claims. Their policy update on COVID-19 it states explicitly, verbatim, word for word, it states their medical misinformation policy is anything that goes against their policy is things that, quote unquote, verbatim, debunked or unfounded theories that promote medical misinformation or that go against expert recommendations. But then in the next paragraph, they go on to contradict and clarify. They say verbatim, and I'll probably do a separate video to actually show you the actual email correspondence and just how completely insane all of this is. So they're claiming that my content is unfounded and debunked theories, where the posts that he cited in that email was literally the video that I've uploaded on my other backup channel, Crossing the Abyss, which is still up on my channel right now. And you can find these videos on my Odyssey channel. All these links are in the description down below. But so, long story short, for anyone just joining, I need you guys to cancel your Patreon subscriptions. Probably. So here's the thing. And I need you to move and subscribe over on subscribestar.com/lifting the veil. The links are in the description box down below. Although you will be charged probably this month. So if you've already, been, well, actually, for those of you just subscribed to my Patreon, you'll be charged again to subscribe to Subscribestar. But this is what has to be done. Unfortunately, I hate to spring this on you guys, but this is what has to be done. What has to be done is we have to cancel your Patreon subscriptions once you've already successfully subscribed to Subscribestar. I've set it up so everything is exactly the same on Subscribestar. I've got all the exact same tiers, all the exact same benefits. The only thing is my Subscribestar page doesn't have all of the posts that I have accumulated over the years on my Patreon account. But I'm actively working as hard as I can to one by one move. What are you guys talking about? Hiram Abiff is burning in hell. What? Come on, guys, get real. I'm trying to be serious here. But so one by one, I'm going to have to move all of my posts from my Patreon account, all of those archives, over to my Subscribestar page. So I have to do that one by one, and Subscribestar I can only upload maybe 10 posts per day there. So that's what I'm having to do is I will upload all of my content to Subscribestar, and it's set up just like Patreon. So the only problem is the actual platform isn't as nice. It's not as user friendly. So when you scroll through my page, it's not set up nearly as nice. It's hard to distinguish which post is which, and it's hard to, they put the thumbnail for the YouTube video at the bottom of the post rather than at the very top. So when you're scrolling through my posts to see what kind of good content there is, it's you see all the text first, and then you see like the YouTube video that the post is about at the bottom of it's just a terrible design. It's not user friendly, but yes, the censorship is really getting very out of control. They're not holding back anymore. They're not candy coating it. They're not sugar coating it. They're coming right out and explicitly showing their true colors and showing their true nature, that this is not about, this is a total suppression and total censorship of actual public health, the real data, the real science. Because the posts that they flagged in those emails, he said, make sure you delete the medical misinformation, such as here, here, and here. And the links to the post that he cited was the one that shows Public Health Ontario, Canada inflated COVID-19 death counts by 50%. According to, it shows it in that own document that I've showed you guys in these videos. It's in my Inoculum of Truth video, film. It's all in there. I've separated it out, made a separate video about that. I've done live streams on it on my Facebook page. So for those of you who don't know that information, it's on my Subscribestar page now. So if you want to find it, the link's in the description below. It's on my Subscribestar page. But so that's literally just, in that video, it's literally just showing the Public Health Ontario, Canada government document that says that explicitly in the document. They're saying that is violates their policy, and their policy cites what violates the policy is unfounded or debunked theories. It is not unfounded. It's a cited, published government document. It's not unfounded. It's cited. It's referenced. It's actual published government data. They're trying to fucking hide the real data. They're trying to hide it. They're trying to cover it up. Patreon is showing their true colors. They're far left, radical, extremist, progressive, or hate groups, apparently, or something like that, because they're suppressing the real data. It was nice at first when I had a great correspondence with Ezra, but now I think it's nothing but I'm just getting emails from a chat bot now, because it's not addressed. And in their guidelines, it states that we will work with you specifically on a case-by-case basis. And in the guidelines, quote unquote, in the policy, you guys can look this up on their COVID-19 policy update. It says, and I've got screenshots, I just posted it on Facebook. It's on my, well, it's not on my Subscribestar yet, but I need to make a video showing you all of this. There's got to be some type of legal ramifications that I can hold them to, because they're not abiding by their own written policy. They're violating and making false claims, violating their own written policy. Yes, it's probably a bot picking up on the algorithm, but they're supposed to have a specific human interaction to work with us. But Owen Benjamin has already filed successfully. They won a class action lawsuit against Patreon, and that forced Patreon to change their, it was a huge deal. I just posted that on Facebook when I tried to look it up about what I can do about this. But basically the thing I need you all to do is what I need you to do right now is I need you to go to Patreon, email their support team, and express your concern. Be very polite. Do not make my channel look bad by making any, hateful or harmful, messages or anything like that. I need you to express your concern as a supporter of my channel. And because this is the legal ramifications. Is they're interfering with a business relationship between me and the supporters. That is a monetary business relationship infringement. I've got a template. It's on my Facebook page. It's not very well done, but yeah. So what I need you to do is to express your concern that, number one, none of my content violates their COVID-19 policy update, nor any of their it doesn't violate their terms of service. It doesn't violate their guidelines policy. And it doesn't violate their COVID-19 medical misinformation policy either, because none of my content is unfounded or debunked theory. First of all, in their guidelines, they say that in the coming weeks, we are going to implement a fact-checking service or something that they're going to do, offer fact-checking something. They haven't done any of that. There is no fact-checking. There's no criteria that they're using to show why something is false, where it's been debunked. They're not using any cited. They're not using any of the fact-checking articles like Facebook does. They're not doing that. It says it in their policy, but they're not doing that. Again, their policies are lying blatantly. And then their policy in the very next paragraph, it goes on to say that, to be clear, this policy update does not apply to creators who are actively debating the merits of the public health recommendations. So it's saying the policy doesn't apply to people who are showing skepticism or debating the merits of the COVID-19 recommendations, from public health recommendations. So it says they will do their best to offer the broadest range of speech possible. So it's saying that you're allowed to discuss skepticism and debate the merits of COVID-19 recommendations. But yet in the paragraph before, so they're contradicting themselves numerous times. And in this email correspondence, the guy originally says, or the bot originally says, whatever it is, their support, trust and safety support, goes by the name Able, is... First, they cite the COVID-19 update policy. They say I violate that. I respond with a huge debunking references showing all of the peer-reviewed literature in the content of the post that they cited that violated their policy, such as the post that I did that was literally a screenshot from a webinar from Illinois Public Health Department. They did a webinar recently, like last Friday, and in that webinar, they showed a slide on screen that said, face masks are not respiratory protection, because they're not. A cloth face covering or even surgical masks are not N95 medical respirators. Everyone knows this. All of the peer-reviewed literature, especially all the stuff that I cited, the studies, the medical peer-reviewed published science journals, all of them, every study ever shows that surgical face masks are not respirators. This is why if you're going to paint your car, why you don't wear a surgical or a face covering to paint your car. Because it's not a fucking it's not respiratory protection. So it's not only that, it's not unfounded. That should be enough right there. So first of all, it's not unfounded. I have thousands of cited references from public health authorities, including the European CDC, their update on all of it. It's all there. It's all there. Nor has it been debunked. Not by Patreon, not by anybody can debunk that. But not only that, they're not actively doing anything to show me where it's been debunked or to prove their claims or to disprove my claims. They're just blanket statement saying that it violates the policy. And so then he shifts the goalposts to then say, oh, it goes against expert recommendation. So it's like, which is it? First you say it's unfounded. It violates the unfounded, content policy. And then you move the goalposts and say, oh, well, it contradicts. I'm sorry, but the policy update in writing says nothing about going against expert recommendation. It explicitly says that is allowed and that the policy doesn't affect creators showing skepticism or debating the merits of these things. So in other words, it's saying that they're allowing debate, and The truth is that they're just trying to actually fucking suppress and hide all of the data. So not only that, then the very last message they're going through and they're saying that, okay, yeah, I ended up deleting all of those posts from my Patreon page. And then he goes on to say, oh, well, the Patreon guidelines also apply to any project that you're funding via Patreon, which includes all of your social media, everything you do in public, your entire life itself, all of my other. So he cited, linked to my Odyssey page, my Odyssey channel, which is my YouTube alternative. So I need you guys to go subscribe to odyssey.com/lifting the veil, or find Lifting the Veil on Odyssey. Links in the description below. Subscribe to my Odyssey channel. I've got a backup channel also. My second channel is called Crossing the Abyss. You can find it on YouTube. That's my backup YouTube channel, is Crossing the Abyss. And it's my backup channel on Odyssey as well. That's my second brand. I have Lifting the Veil, which you guys know me for. My second project is Crossing the Abyss. You can find it on Odyssey. You can find it on YouTube as well. So all of these links again in the description below. So I need direct action from you guys in order to resolve this problem, because payout comes at the beginning of the month for Patreon. So that means my monthly pay for this month occurs on the 5th of, at the end of this month, on the 5th of, what is the next month? May? What is it, April? Yeah, May. May 5th is payday. And if my account is not unsuspended by that time, that means I don't get paid for this month. That means I have no monthly income currently at this time. And I'm on my second guideline strike on YouTube on this channel right now. So I had just published my Inoculum of Truth part 2 video to this channel 2 weeks ago, and I told you guys it was about to go live. It passed manual monetization review, so that means a human reviewer looked at it and said, oh yeah, this is okay for monetization. And then as soon as I made it live, boom, then they deleted it and hit me with a second guidelines strike for medical misinformation policy, even though at the very beginning of the video I state, this is not medical advice. Follow the advice of the experts. Follow the recommendations. Wear multiple masks. Get a vaccine. Social distance. Wash your hands. Listen to the World Health. Listen to the WHO. Listen to the CDC. Trust the experts. Follow the science. I gave all the platitudes. I appealed to all the... Hey, thanks so much for the super chat, by the way. Thank you, Lorenzo. I appreciate that. I didn't even know people knew how to send super chats anymore. I usually never get any of those. So I guess, yeah, let me read what... Keep my head up, brother. It's coming down into crunch time where they're revealing themselves and trying to suppress truth. Keep going. Yes, that's absolutely true. Is there another one from Lorenzo, or is that... Yeah, first one is from Worst Nero. Thank you, Worst Nero. I really appreciate that. It really means a lot to me. But unfortunately, these super chats are literally like YouTube gets, what, like 50% of those donations. So, there are better ways to do that, such as, my PayPal link in the description down below, or something like that. But, so, I've been scrambling. I'm super messed up right now. I've been scrambling nonstop all day long. I literally haven't eaten anything all day. It's 9 p.m. here right now. Haven't had time to eat. I've been spending nonstop. So what I'm doing right now is I'm deleting all of my COVID content from my Odyssey channel. I've already deleted it from my BitChute channel as well. I do have backups. So that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm making sure I have backups for all of these so that eventually I can re-upload them somewhere. For when I need to. Here's an extra 50%. Thanks, Nero. That's awesome. But yeah, so what I'm doing right now, my plan is because I don't want to miss out on, I can't afford to miss out on my monthly income for this month, which is about, I think, $1,300 from Patreon for this month. Which is pretty decent. Oh, so I also wanted to go out of my way and express to you guys, a lot of you have in the past month since I've uploaded this Inoculum of Truth video and putting out all of this COVID content, a lot of you have really pulled through in a big way and have subscribed and supported me on my Patreon page. So I need to thank you expressly. I should have done this right from the beginning of the video, to said that right out front, was all of you who have signed up in the recent past month or two. It's made a huge difference. You've come through in such a big way, I'm extremely grateful, and it's finally really making a huge difference. But unfortunately now, fucking Patreon had to put a stop to that. Can't allow that, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much you can crush them with the actual highest tiers of evidence. The majority of the decades of peer-reviewed published highest tiers, for those of you who have followed all my stuff, you should know the hierarchy of evidence. Expert opinion is at the very bottom. Expert opinion is basically worthless. Then you have things like mechanistic, petri dish, rat studies, animal studies. Then you have case studies. Then you have case control studies. Then you have randomized control trials, which is the gold standard of actual evidence. Then you have meta-analyses. Then you have systematic reviews of the meta-analyses and the randomized control trials. And so the systematic reviews are viewing all of that evidence. So that's the stuff I'm posting. That's the stuff I'm showing you, is the actual data, the highest quality evidence from the most qualified experts in the world, like Professor Ioannidis. The reason why you guys all know that peer-reviewed science is corrupt is because of him. He's the one that published the paper that is the 3 million citations, the most cited, credentialed, qualified expert in history, literally in history of science literature. He's the most qualified. And in that Inoculum of Truth film, I showed on screen all of his qualifications from his actual credential page. It's ridiculous. It is staggering how fucking much that guy has accomplished. And he's so humble. He's so sweet and nice and humble. And he will never be bought out. He will never lie to you. Ever. He's the one that published the paper, why 40% of published research is false. Research findings are false. He's the one that all the conspiracy theorists now know how corrupt peer-reviewed published science is. And yet they're coming at me, constantly saying, you don't know this, you're a scientism. Oh, you follow scientism, don't you? You worship at the altar of scientism. You and the vegans, worshiping science, especially the carnivore dieters and the flat earthers. You worship scientism. It's like, you wouldn't fucking know how corrupt the peer-reviewed published literature if it wasn't for Professor Ioannidis publishing it in the peer-reviewed published literature. Good science is the only thing that can debunk bad science, ever. It's not theory. Theories aren't going to be able to, don't have the weight or the credibility to actually make change in the world, to debunk bad science. It's good science is the only thing that can destroy bad science. I'm through fucking walking on eggshells and all of this bullshit. I'm sick of the nonsense. I'm sick. I can't handle this shit anymore. It's taking too much of a toll on my well-being. It never ends. It never ends. It never fucking ends. No matter how much I dig in, I dig deep, and I fucking pull out all the stops, and I go balls to the wall at everything I do. At everything I do. Whether it's on fucking Facebook debunking some troll's comments, I fucking bury them in citations, and and I know that's sort of like it's like a shotgun fallacy where you just like shotgun blast, but it's because I've actually been there and I've done that, and I have all these archives that I've built so that whenever the topic comes up, whatever it is, whether it's flat earth, whether it's whether it's nutritional science, whether it's COVID, whether it's fucking face mask, whether it's lockdown, whatever it is in the world, the truth about reality, I have built archives of data so that at the drop of a hat, I can click and immediately go to my archives that I have stored in my mind. I know all the URL links where I have them saved, and I go and I just fucking drop it. I drop the hammer. And, my dad's an attorney. My uncle is a really successful attorney. My grandpa was an attorney. All the men on, the two different sides of my family, on the Smith side of the family, are all attorneys. And I'm like super anti, attorney, but that's how I guess I picked up a very powerful quality in being able to convince, to argue a lot of these points, and make my points. And and my dad was very forceful. He always he literally military style, tried to break me, and constantly interrogating me, especially through middle school. He'd come home drunk from the bar and, and he would just literally interrogate me and basically, like spank me or some type of light physical abuse, but mostly just verbal, and make me do push-ups, with this, putting his foot on my back to push me down because he knew because I could do them too easily, because I could do over 100 just nonstop, because he'd been making me do that since since as long as I can remember, since I was 6 years old or something, but he wasn't super cruel, but he was just very old school West Texas. So that's my background. That's why I fucking I can't stand falsity. And the truth was that I was always right and he was completely wrong. He would make these wild conspiracy theories. This one time at basketball practice in 7th grade, my friend Garrett Haney left his shoes at the gym after school, and so they were super bright blue, super expensive shoes. He was the only one that had them, so everyone knew whose shoes they were, and I was like, I'll grab them for him, give them to him the next day at basketball practice. I get home, my dad comes home drunk from the bar that night and sees Garrett Haney's shoes, and he's like, whoa! He always had, he would see something out of place, something, and he's laser focus in on it and just create some sort of issue out of nothing and create these wild, drunken conspiracy delusions of grandeur in his mind. And he would basically in military style interrogate me, try to break me down until I admit what he wanted me to admit to him. Exactly the same thing that fucking Patreon is doing right now. You will submit. You will do what we say, no matter how false it is. And this is the thing that I've rebelled against my whole fucking life. This is my life's purpose. My mission here is to battle shit that is completely false, no matter the cost. And what it did, it instilled a sense of resolve in me that would never fucking, I can't be broken. I can never be tortured to the point of breaking. I will never give up. I will never fucking break and give in to lies and disinformation. That's what he always tried to get me to do. He always tried to, he would stop interrogating me, and it wasn't severe torture, but it was it was legitimate psychological torture. It was gaslighting. It was emotional gaslighting. Same thing that fucking big tech and big censorship does. They're gaslighting all of us. They're emotionally gaslighting us, trying to make us submit and admit to lies. And, I'm fucking sick of it. I'm fucking sick of it. I can't take it anymore. But, so I'm just ranting at this point, but what I need from you guys is, if you are supporters on Patreon, whether it's, so right now I'm deleting all of my content, or finding a way to delete it and remove it to abide by Patreon's rules upon my life. and to delete it. No, but I'm just bullshitting. But yeah, so fuck. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I'm back. I've got backups. I'm backing it all up. What I need is the website. I've been talking to my best friend from elementary school. He is literally one of the best web designers in the country. He was literally ranked #1 on Upwork for years, and he's super like he lives in New York. He lives in Manhattan. He does cybersecurity for fucking like what is it? One of the big banking companies. Which one is it? Like not Merrill Lynch. Might be Merrill Lynch or something like that. But he does cybersecurity for that. Like he's a like him and I, like when back in elementary school, we raised hell. Like we were hellions totally, and like both of us, I mean, we were visionaries. We were absolute visionaries. We fucking made everything, like our ideas were so far out there, even like back in elementary school. I mean, but so, and you know, he found me, looked me up, he saw my YouTube channel, and you know, we reconnected, and so we're finding a way. We're gonna find a way to make a decentralized website, you know, because he's well aware of, you know, he's more worried about it than I am about, you know, my website getting taken down once I build a website. So he's finding a way to do that to help me out. He's offering to do it, you know, for free. He's not gonna, you know, just because he says my work is so valuable and like my archives are too important and it needs to be secured somehow. And for all of you guys, a couple of you guys that are actually $100 tier supporters on my Patreon page, I need to do something. If you send me a multi-terabyte hard drive, if you send that to my address, although I'm going to be moving here soon, so but if you send me a terabyte hard drive, I will throw all of my archives on there, all my backup, you know, my videos, all my graphics, my infographics, all of my PDF articles of all my presentations, literally all of my files, my backup files, for in case anything ever happens to me. You know, you never know, like, you know, if you get a car crash or something like that, you know, this information that I'm sitting on that that nobody's seen yet, except for like a very few people that I've shown, like very, very select few. The projects that I've almost finished right now, the Symbols of Power Part 6, 7, you know, multiple Symbols of Power full films are almost done, just have some slight things that I've been working on, but, you know, all the infographics that I've done, all the stuff that I've been planning to publish in the, you know, as books, all of that stuff, so much of it, that full presentations that nobody's ever seen. Like it's important stuff. Like it literally takes all of the ancient metaphysics and hermetics, like stuff that, you know, all Manly P. Hall's, you know, Secret Teachings of All Ages, a huge book, but compared to the sheer amount of content that I'm sitting on, that I've come up with, that I've put together, that nobody has seen yet, it makes Manly P. Hall's work even just pale in comparison. And I know that sounds super egotistical and super arrogant, but I'm saying that just like as sort of humbly as I can. I'm just saying, like, that's like seriously, you can weigh it, like you can compare, like that's how much work it really is. And of course it builds on the foundation of everyone who's come before. So I'm not saying that, you know, that stuff's not of course, like, you know, I wouldn't have been able to accomplish all of this without that foundation that had come before, but it goes so much further. Like it takes the ancient stuff and it makes it fucking like super modern science, like super validated, super credible, on a level that, you know, could never be done before up until now, with all the access to information and, you know, the modern knowledge and the modern science that we now have, that most, you know, esotericists and occultists and, you know, metaphysicians totally dismiss, especially New Agers, totally dismiss and deny, because they think that, like, oh, you know, only the ancient stuff is the most advanced. No, it's absolutely not true. You have to connect the circle. You have to bring that ancient stuff, connect it to the modern to the future. But anyways, I've gone way off on rambling stuff, but I don't know. I don't know. Homeless in America. Wow. that name is hilarious. Homeless in America. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, aren't we all? But oh shit. But yeah, so I don't know, guys. So what I could ask of you is to email Patreon support. Give them a link to my page, the page in question. Express your concerns. Be very professional, very polite. If you're going to, take this recommendations, express how all of my content is literally. It does not violate their policies nor their guidelines. It doesn't violate their COVID-19 policy update, which states that only debunked or unfounded theories violate their medical misinformation policy. And it says expressly allows for debate and skepticism about public health recommendations. And if they're not allowing that, that literally means that's literally science, suppression of science. Because the truth is that how many times has the CDC and the World Health Organization, nobody knew what the hell was going on at the beginning of this. It's like, so they're the only ones allowed to figure things out? All the other experts, Professor Carl Hennigan, the Great Barrington Declaration, Professor Sunetra Gupta, Professor Bhakti, Professor Ioannidis, everyone at Stanford, Jay Bhattacharya, everyone at Harvard, everyone at Oxford. How much of an expert do you have to be? Literally the world's most credentialed experts are the ones questioning so much of this information. And yet, how many times was Professor Ioannidis banned from the mainstream news, from social media, from Facebook, from YouTube, all of his deleted, and yet eventually he was right the whole fucking time, since the very beginning, because he does not piss around when it comes to real data and real evidence and real science. He fucking calls everything. He's been calling out the modelers the whole time, his whole presentations, calling out modeling, calling out bunk science, junk science, pseudoscience, masquerading as science. It's nothing. It's fucking politics. It's a political agenda. And I'm saying the baseline stuff without getting into unfounded theories, behind it all, even though I can substantiate those theories as well. But so anyways, the World Health Organization publishes his study that shows currently the most current median IFR for COVID is corrected. Originally, he published as 0.25, which is still within seasonal influenza range, albeit a severe, pandemic influenza range, but then corrected down to the most recent corrections published on the World Health Organization website right now, his paper, that the median IFR is 0.15. Do you know the IFR for seasonal influenza? It's 0.1, which is what Fauci's paper and Robert Redfield's paper back in January of last year cited also, which I showed in Inoculum of Truth documentary volume 1, which then I isolated that clip out. They deleted that clip off of YouTube as well. And now every single paper confirms that. The CDC's pandemic preparedness, best current estimates confirm even less than that, which I also showed in those documentaries. It's all the fucking published data. It's all government peer-reviewed public health data. They're trying to hide the real data. This is why California got called out for hiding the public data from the public, and their excuse for it was that, it could mislead the public. Bullshit! What, are you going to mislead all the actual experts in the field? That's why they're hiding it, because they don't want the So this is why they say one thing on the news, and yet what they're publishing in the literature is entirely different. Because they know they can't fucking get away with it in the peer-reviewed literature. They know that's going to get called out. So, and they know the experts that are too busy publishing papers and in their literature, in the field itself, they don't have time to be sitting watching what's going and being said on the news, although they are catching on, and there's many, many, many more now starting to catch on and starting to fucking really heat up and really call things out. But the truth is, experts and publishing experts and real scientists and people who are reviewing the literature and publishing in the literature, they're too busy with their careers to be watching what is being said on the news and on social media and, in public health, press releases and all of that stuff. So that's why what is being said on the news by Fauci or whoever else is totally often inverse of what they're actually publishing in the literature. Such as Fauci back in January of last year, before he really, started coming out and like flip-flopping, and going totally against all the decades of peer-reviewed science. At the beginning, like he was making based claims, such as, the obvious stuff that we've known forever, such as, stuff on asymptomatic spread. Pandemic's never been driven by asymptomatic spread. And, and then months later, suddenly he changes his mind. It's, what were the papers that changed his mind? Well, they're never showing you the actual literature or the data in these press releases or on these news stations or on the channels. They don't sit down and hold, this is the thing. Social media and everyone, they're all pissed about fact-checking and medical misinformation, but they're not taking the time to spend 9 hours giving public service announcements, showing everybody all the data for themselves, such as I did in my full documentaries for you guys, especially the part 2. 9 hours of nothing but showing all the data, everything, every aspect of it. Because that's the stuff that people need. And that's why they're hiding the actual data. They're just making baseless false claims of saying that it's medical misinformation or unfounded debunked theories. No, it's not. And if it is, the onus is on you to actually debunk it. Make a well-researched, well-cited, referenced rebuttal. And if I'm wrong, I will legitimately change my stance. I always do. Unlike so many other people. This is why most people can't keep up with me, and they'll think I'm gatekeeping information, so whatever, what the fuck ever. If it's about flat earth or fucking pathogen denial, people that think viruses aren't real and viruses don't exist, they're just exosomes though. Yeah, virions are exosomes, but extracellular vesicles are never virions. It's like a square it's like a rectangle being a square, but a square can never be a rectangle. It's not a two-way street, or germ theory versus terrain theory. There's no fucking debate between germ theory and terrain theory. They're both the same two aspects of health and disease. They're both true. Lifestyle medicine is the foundation, and pathogenesis is also legitimately true. And I've got full presentations that I need to do on all of that, debunking all of these other claims. But it's like, people can't keep up because I change my stance according to, this is why I've changed my stance on a lot of things. And when I change my stance, then people can't keep up with me. They're still stuck on the train, like the train that's like going off a cliff. And they can't like veer off course to correct their course when they're proven wrong. This is why being proven wrong is never bad. It's never a bad thing to be wrong. We need to drop this whole stigma. But the problem is most people, especially social media, they built their channels. They built hundreds of thousands of followings on disinformation, on lies, on stuff that is not true. So when you build your foundation, your house on a foundation of garbage, then when that garbage gets swept away, your whole fucking career comes tumbling after. This is why you have to be very careful with the foundation that you're building on. You have to be very careful, because if you're building your house on bullshit, it's going to collapse. The bullshit will get swept away, and your whole YouTube channel, your whole website, your whole whatever it is that you built your channel off of, whether it's your channel is nothing but QAnon stuff, your channel is nothing but flat earth content, if you built your foundation on nothing but some of those things, you're in for a rude awakening. Okay? This is the stuff. This is why people get stuck in ideologies. Their whole sense of identity is attached to whatever it is that they believe in. And so if they were proven wrong, what are they going to come out and be, oh, sorry guys, it turns out I was actually wrong. My entire channel, the hundreds of videos on flat earth, oh, sorry guys, it turns out I was actually... Are they going to ever admit? No! Their whole foundation was built on something. So this is the whole thing. Like, the main argument about QAnon is, like, everyone's saying, the biggest response that I get to that is people sincerely being like, okay, look, you know, your presentation was incredible, but you know what it gives me hope. What am I supposed, if without that I will have, what am I supposed to believe in? It's the only thing that gives me hope. What am I supposed to hope? And this is what I always say is, if you're placing your hope in falsity and falsehoods, it's false hope. And there's nothing worse. It's worse to have no hope than to have false hope. Or sorry, it's worse to have false hope than to have no hope. But the truth is, you should be placing your hope and your belief in real things. In the real things that can be proven in yourself, in your health and lifestyle, in your physical fitness, in your well-being, in your mental fortitude, in your lifestyle, in real things that can be objective, in real critical thinking, objective truths, how to think critically, methods of scrutiny, of peer review, of logic, of reason, the trivium method, combined with the quadrivium, the 7 liberal arts, the 7 hermetic principles, the 7, which are the 4 and the 3. The 3 is the mental trinity, logic, rhetoric, and grammar. How to process data, how to interpret data, how to output that data to communicate it to others, to pass on the knowledge effectively. And then the quadrivium, which is arithmetic, mathematics, arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy. How you put the numbers all together to assess the reality of the world that we live in. In other words, how to tell if the world around us is real or not. How to prove that things are real in the world around us, how it really works. The trivium is the mental aspect. It's the triangle. It's the head. It's the capstone. The quadrivium is the body. It's the house. It's the square. It's building a house. A square with a triangle built on top of it. A capstone built upon. This is the pyramid. It's the human body. You have the 4 points, the quadrivium. You have the trivium atop that, the pinnacle, the mental aspects of how to process knowledge. The quadrivium, how to assess that knowledge in the real world around us. These are the basics, the foundations of truth. I'm fucking rambling and ranting on at this point. I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about at this point, but fuck. The censorship it's fucking out of control. It's out of control. It's out of hand. You know, we've reached peak clown world at this point. But all right, anyways, guys, I think I'll leave it there. I've ranted on enough at this point. So to leave it, I need your help. For those of you who are already supporters, please move your support from Patreon, that corrupt nonsense, over to Subscribestar. The link's in the description below. And in the meantime, I'm deleting all my COVID content from Odyssey so that I can hopefully get my Patreon page, unsuspended so that I can get paid for this month before I plan on moving. And then after that, I will need you guys to move from Patreon, because I hate to do that, because it's much better than subscribe as of right now. Maybe Subscribestar will update their platform to where it's actually a lot more user friendly and it looks better, it looks nicer, but right now it kind of sucks. And again, I'm working on getting my own site and all that shit, so maybe I should see if there's any questions or anything. Well, I think I addressed whatever super chats were in here, but yeah, so thank you guys for that. Although I would have appreciated if you didn't give YouTube your massive cuts of that. Oh, Rob G, high five, brother. Don't be worried. Your spirit, talents, and knowledge by knowledge is safe and loved by higher beings such as divine. Thank you so much, Rob G. I appreciate that. I really do. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I've got another rant that I recorded yesterday that I'm planning on uploading before all of this happened today. But as of right now, I need to spend nonstop until I get... Yeah, dude, I'm already on Odyssey. Links in the descriptions down below. Look up Lifting the Veil on Odyssey and Crossing the Abyss on Odyssey. I'm already there. So yeah, I'm already there. Links in the description down below, guys. So yeah, check those out for whatever resources that you want or whatever you need. All right, guys. Well, I'll see y'all later. Signing off for now. All right, peace. How do I end this? Are dinosaurs real? Yes, dinosaurs are real. Yes, dinosaurs are real. Dinosaurs weren't fake. I know, I'm aware of all the claims from Dubé and all of them, but they don't hold any water whatsoever. Yes, dinosaurs are absolutely real. The ancient Greeks uncovered dinosaur bones thousands of years ago. I mean, they thought they were, that's where the myth of this, they thought, that's where the myths of dragons and all that stuff comes from dinosaur bones. And I mean, people in their backyard find dinosaur bones. It's not something that the elites are trying to cover up. Only the museums are covering. No, average people find dinosaur skeletons in their backyards all the time. But aside from the point. So, yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to be condescending. I'm not being condescending. I'm just saying anyone can figure these things out. Slide up from the bottom, close YouTube app. Yeah, I can't figure out how to end it. Maybe if I clicked it, stop streaming. Yeah, okay. All right, guys. Well, I'll see y'all later. Have a good one. Peace.